On March 18th, 2016, I uploaded my first YouTube video on my YouTube channel. It was a animation called the Super Stickman fight, and my dumbass spelled Stickman wrong. I later went on and evolved my channel and started to do cartoon reviews. And if you ask if any of these videos were good, they weren't.
But I remember as a kid I was watching it, I'm like, man, this show's bad. And I was little. I was like 6 or 8 or something like that. And I was like, this show is bad. And if you can get a 6-year-old to say this show is bad, your show is bad.
But even despite how shitty these videos were, I was still able to get some traction, you know, like this little nigga had some motion going on, you know? And the thing that started it all for me was a little Total Drama video that I did. It was called Top 7 Total Drama Seasons. However, even if the video was god-awful, sparked a new love for Total Drama that I never thought I had before. The feedback from this video would influence me into making more and more and more Total Drama videos. You might have been able to say that I was a vital part of the Total Drama community. No one in the fucking galaxy has ever uttered those words out of their mouth. But little me thought I was influential. Fast forward a few years and I started to get embarrassed by my YouTube channel. I started to get embarrassed by the fact that I was, in high school, making top 5 black Total Drama characters. Alright bro, I'm sick and tired of bullying a 12-year-old kid, so I think I'm gonna actually get to the point of the video, you know, the reason you all clicked on the video. So yeah, Total Drama Island 2023 retrospective. Basically, my thoughts on the whole entire season, going episode by episode. Let's fucking get it.
Raw chemicals, vitamins and minerals, and Vicodin within the tubes wrapped around the arm. To see the vein like a chicken on the bond. Top cat chat, let's begin another yawn. Let's flying sausage cheese, or it's the chicken palm. The roosters don't fly like boosters.
The first episode starts off with a typical Chris McClain intro, and it's not the same voice. Now, I know they replaced Chris McClain's original voice actor because of legal reasons, allegedly, and I'm here to tell you right now, that's none of my business. So I'm not gonna speak on it. The structure of this first episode is very similar to the very first episode of the original Total Drama Island. We start off with Chris introducing all the new contestants in the first half of the episode, and in the second half of the episode, we have a challenge. Now, I actually really enjoyed how they introduced the characters. I thought the incorporation of their audition tapes was a unique and pretty cool way to show off their personalities, and they actually do a pretty good job at it. Like, as soon as the character comes on the screen, I know immediately what type of timing they're on.
To research the epic fail that is my own generation.
Oh, is she one of those? I don't fuck with Millie off the bat.
Welcome. You have seen
Damien a nigga, bro. I like Damien. He better go far in this season.
What you need is a secret talent. Know what mine is?
What is it?
Hey, where's my wallet?
Wait, please tell me. Oh, please tell me you the villain.
I'm always underestimated.
Okay. She might not be the villain, but what did it? I said MK was gonna be underestimated in the season, and that was what's that you got. All right, so if you guys didn't know, I made a bet with my viewers before the season even started that MK was the main villain, and the stakes were pretty high. Here's a clip. I'm so confident that MK will be the villain that if I am not right, I will post my nudes on Pornhub. If MK is not the villain for this newest season of Total Drama. I promise you. My dick and balls will be out. I'll make it a 5-second video. I'll be slinging that bitch too. On Pornhub. If MK is not the villain, if she's not the villain, y'all get to see my dick. Alright. So, now that we've all watched the season all the way through, and yeah, spoilers by the way, why are you watching a complete review of me going episode by episode if you haven't watched the season, dummy? I have a philosophical question for you. Was MK a villain on this season? And do I need to do what I said I was gonna do, or am I scot-free? Let's start a dialogue in the comments below. What actually surprises me in this episode is how minuscule and irrelevant the actual challenge of the episode is. And a lot of you could have said that it's because we had to get introduced to the characters, but in other seasons like Total Drama Pocket Chew Island or Total Drama Revenge of the Island, we focus on the challenge for pretty much the whole entire episode. And if you ask me, I actually really like this change of pace, because with the challenge actually being a minor part of the episode, we actually get to see how the characters interact with each other.
Hey, I call dibs on the bed by the window.
I didn't hear you call it. You want the top or the bottom?
I want whichever one you want. Maybe we should fight for it.
I'll just take a different bed.
Yeah, you will. Good call. Boom! Nobody messes with an alfalfa male.
I'm not gonna lie, Ripper's one of my favorite characters of the season, and if you have a problem with that, lick your grandmother's pussy. There's not really that many major plot lines that are introduced in this episode besides MK being sneaky and the relationship between Emma and Chase. And I'm not gonna lie, this might be the worst relationship in Total Drama history, but we will most definitely talk about that later. We end the episode with the elimination ceremony, and let me just say this. This is the best presentation of the elimination ceremony. Like, honestly, they have like everything that you would want in a Total Drama elimination ceremony. It's dramatic. They give you the reasons on why a certain contestant might be getting voted off. And I really appreciate the shot of all the contestants just walking to the elimination ceremony. If I had one complaint about it, I'd say that it was a little too formulaic, but hey, who really cares about that, to be honest? But instead of talking about the elimination ceremony, let's talk about what happened in the elimination ceremony. Caleb gets eliminated, and I feel like this was supposed to be a twist or a surprise for the audience. And it actually would have succeeded at that if I wasn't already spoiled for Caleb's elimination pretty much. If y'all looked at those promos before the season came out, it was obvious Caleb was first off from the jump. Like, bro did not get a single scene in those promos, and I can see why, because bro barely even got scenes in his only episode that he was in. Like, honestly, it was crazy. On my second channel, I made a Total Drama best of series reminiscent to the ones that they used to do back on Cartoon Network for Total Drama Action and Total Drama World Tour, and the hardest one to make was for Caleb. Not because there were so many moments to choose from, it's because there was not enough moments to even damn near fill out the video. I believe that that's because Caleb was written to be the first contestant voted off in this season, and I really like how it seemed like Emma or Nichelle was going to be the first ones voted off just for the switcheroo to be on Caleb. You know, it would have been a cool surprise to see unfold for the very first time, but I was spoiled. You know, maybe if I didn't watch every single promo of Total Drama and be on the Reddit constantly, maybe if I actually like went outside and like smell the air, you know, like talk to people, you know, instead of working on this YouTube channel, maybe I would have been able to see the Caleb spoil for the first time. Maybe I would actually have a life, you know? Episode 2 starts off like any other Total Drama episode. We get Chris recapping what happened in the last episode, and we also get the intro. The intro. I forgot to talk about that in the first episode, so I'll talk about it here. This shit is fucking ass. Like, I don't see what you guys see in it. There were some people in my comments gassing up this intro. First of all, it's very short. Not even all the contestants are in it. And they say the word slay in it. Like, that don't reek of hey fellow kids vibes to you? Like, bro, there was middle-aged white men singing that song and saying slay. When on earth have you ever heard a middle-aged white man say slay? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not racist, but if I were to ever in my life see a white middle-aged man say slay to me, I'ma just assume that he fucking something that he's not supposed to. Early in the episode, we get Bowie confirming that he was the mastermind behind Caleb's elimination. And this is probably my favorite aspect about Bowie's character. Him not being a villainous character, but more being a strategic character. Even though it seems obvious to have a strategic player that's not really a villain, this was pretty much the first time they ever done it. Bowie having a strategic mind actually starts a trend that a lot of other contestants follow throughout the whole season. And the fact that there are multiple strategic minded players in the season is one of the strengths of it. Also get MK being a villain? I'ma just say villain for my personal gain, but MK's villainous strategy for this season is to look at people's confessionals and see what they're saying to gain intel on them. This is actually a very unique, interesting, and revolutionary idea that has a lot of potential, and I really hope that they go somewhere with this plotline. For the rest of this episode, we have a run-of-the-mill challenge where the contestants are on boats and they're shooting cabbages at each other. We get Emma trying to shoot cabbages at Chase, Axel being a dickhead to Ripper, and we have Scary Girl trying to fuck Damien. I am dead ass right now. She want him. She want the boy.
Damien, he would scream a lot. I like that. But then Damien would never scream again. I don't like that. So I saved him.
Nah, and she says more wild stuff after this, but you just gotta read in between the lines. Oh, but that's coming up. We later receive one of the best scenes in this new season of Total Drama with Z and the reveal that he's an amputee. I just love Z's reaction to the shark eating his leg off, everyone being so surprised and him just being so nonchalant about it. Moments like these are the reason why Z is one of my favorite characters in this season. Oh wow. Are you dead ass?
Oh man, did you guys see that? Shark took my leg, brah. This is a bummer. I really like that leg too.
Nigga, react! Then we finally move on to the elimination, and Axel's getting voted off. It was already known from the jump. This reminds me of older Total Drama where a certain contestant would mess up on a challenge and get voted off because of that. This is very formulaic and predictable, but it doesn't stay like this forever. This season shows that we should expect the unexpected when it comes to these eliminations. And there will be more surprising eliminations to come. But this elimination, on the other hand, this was some mid. Overall, this episode was a very average episode from Total Drama. The highlight is obviously the moment from Z, but besides that, we kinda got mid. I don't know, 6 out of 10. And episode 1 gets a 8 out of 10. Episode 3 starts off with the campers having breakfast and interacting with each other. In these interactions, we get the start of the relationship between Bowie and Raj. We get Z being a top tier character, and we also get Millie and Priya. And this interaction sparks a major problem that I have with the season as a whole. Alright, so when I was young and first started off with this YouTube thing, I started doing Total Drama videos, right? And I made a video called Top 5 Worst Total Drama Characters. And besides the video being bad, I got a lot of backlash for it. And the reason I got a lot of backlash for it was because of Zoe and Courtney. I hate both of those characters, but we aren't gonna focus on Courtney this video. We're gonna focus on Zoe. Now, when I was like 12, so I couldn't really explain why I didn't like Zoe's character. I pretty much summed it up to her being boring. Now that I'm older, I realize why I didn't like Zoe's character, and I see the parallels between Priya and Millie in Zoe's character. The reason I didn't like Zoe's character was because through Total Drama Revenge of the Island and Total Drama All-Stars, they put a lot of focus on her character and kind of went nowhere with it. There was no really memorable moments that I had with Zoe, and it pissed me off that she was on my screen a majority of the time. And this is the same thing that happened with Priya and Millie. In this conversation that Priya and Millie have, we get some seeds into Priya having this grand character development. We have Priya talking about her parents and her relationship with her parents and how Priya's parents force her into doing Total Drama, right? And first, when I saw this, I was like, okay, cool. We might get some character development with Priya. We might get something out of it, right? This plot line goes nowhere, and they focused on it for like the whole entire season. This plot line and Priya and Millie's relationship is like the main plot of the season. And I'm gonna be honest, I did not give a fuck. Fast forward to the challenge, we have a basic obstacle course challenge. And I don't really like it. Usually when it comes to challenges and Total Drama, I really don't care about what they are. I care about what the contestants do in the challenge. And that's a problem for me because when obstacle course challenges happen, the contestants don't usually get a time to breathe and interact with each other. It's mainly them interacting with the challenge. And in my opinion, I don't find that as interesting or as exciting as the contestants just talking to each other. That's why Total Drama Island is one of my favorite seasons, because the challenges allow the contestants to just sit back and breathe and be human instead of getting their fucking ACL, shoulder, elbow dislocated. Like, for real, these challenges be having these motherfuckers look like Gordon Hayward on the Celtics. Like, sure, sometimes the Total Drama slapstick does lead to some funny moments, but not in this episode. We get Nichelle admitting that she was a fake, and to be honest, I really don't care. I think her being ass at challenges was played out way too long. But hey, we did get some highlights, and the highlights was Damien. We go to the elimination ceremony, and the most obvious elimination of the season, Nichelle is voted off. Now, if you ask me personally, I did not care about Nichelle's character at all. She had a stick where she was a celebrity, but she wasn't really talented at the stunts that she do. But yeah, that's pretty much all her character had to offer. I give this episode a 6 out of 10. Damien carried this episode on his back. Episode 4, in my opinion, is the best episode of the pre-merge. We start off with Priya and Millie again, but this time they're talking strategy. And for me personally, I love in Total Drama when characters just talk about strategy. And one of the highlights of Priya's character actually is that she's one of the strategic players on the season. I can't say the same thing about Millie. I hate Millie. She's a terrible character. And if you like Millie, I hate you too. Unsubscribe from this channel if you're a fan of Millie right now. I do not like you nor respect you as a person. I hope every single... Also really love Priya trying to bring in Scary Girl into her alliance. Even though Scary Girl is a gimmick character, we still see her actually have a little bit of a strategical mind in this episode, which is one of the things I absolutely love about this season, is because all the contestants to a certain extent strategize. That's actually one of the main reasons why I love Total Drama World Tour, is the strategical aspect of it. And Total Drama Island 2023 is ramped up in this season. The highlights of this episode was MK being sneaky, Scary Girl going batshit insane, and Damien, because Damien is just that good of a character.
I know Damien is on my team, but his screams are so delicious. What's a girl to do?
She probably think it tastes like chocolate. The challenge was alright. It was a capture the flag type of challenge. And like I said before, I don't really care about challenges in Total Drama. I mainly care about how the contestants interact with the challenge. And I really appreciate this challenge because I feel like it let the characters shine on their own besides doing a challenge, unlike episode 3. We end the episode off with Scary Girl's elimination. Now, even though the elimination should have been obvious for me, I still was contemplating whether it could be Ripper or Scary Girl, and that's one of the things I like about the season, is how they have 2 contestants mess up instead of 1 I know that's such a revolutionary concept, but I appreciate that they give good explanations on why both Scary Girl and Ripper could get voted out. And we actually have some pretty interesting drama with Millie not voting for Ripper and instead voting for Scary Girl, and this goes absolutely nowhere. But overall, this episode was a pretty good one. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Alright campers, today's challenge is to find a reason to keep going.
Alright, so I know the episode is bad, right? Why the hell are we speculating if the writers have a fart fetish? You know, that just seems like none of my business, you know? To be honest, if that was me, I'd be furious as hell. Like, nigga, all I did was write a shitty episode of Total Drama. Why the fuck are y'all speculating on how my dick operates, you know?
What do you think of that?
Wow, that's real power there, Emma.
No, sit your ass down, Hey, I got glasses? Yeah. Inconsistent? Don't care. I'm about to talk my shit on this episode, but we gonna go over the minor details. We're gonna do a little recap / review. First up, we start off with Julia finally becoming the season villain. And although I do like the concept of a twist villain happening mid-season, I don't really like how quickly she came to this conclusion. Like, we literally only get one confessional and then boom, Julia's the season villain. But I do give this moment a pass because Julia is a parody of social influencers, which is following the trope of her being really nice and positive online, but in person they're not what they portray on social media. Also, we get hints into Julia being not so much of a good person.
You're lucky. I think this one's gonna get messy. Oh, you'll do great. You're so brave in the way you don't care about your looks. Thank you.
So overall, I'm pretty much cool with the transition of the character. I just don't like how it was given to us in kind of just one confessional. We also got this moment.
Hey, if getting blown up by your own fart isn't a hero's exit, I don't know what is.
I'll just add that to the list of things you don't know. Millie! That was a sick bro.
On the way to the challenge, it's revealed to us that someone has been stealing the contestants' stuff. We as an audience know it's MK, but the contestants don't. And oh my god, this is just the start of MK's downfall. And I'm gonna tell y'all now, I don't like it. Continuing on to the challenge is that the contestants need to catapult each other into the targets. The further the target, the more points the contestants get. The challenge overall was alright. We got some pretty memorable moments, like for example Z. But we also get a big moment in the season, Bowie's and Raj's first kiss. Now I'll use this moment to talk about Bowie and Raj's relationship. First, I want to say this is a monumental moment for Total Drama as a whole, with this being the first gay couple in the series. However, I'm kind of disappointed because the relationship didn't really intrigue me. Now you could say that was because the relationship was spoiled to me with it being revealed before the show even came out, and while I'll admit that played a factor into why I found the couple predictable, I still believe this couple could have been a top tier Total Drama relationship if it was executed in a different way. My main problem with this couple is that the build up is very minuscule. We get introduced to the relationship in episode 3 and then small moments of Bowie and Raj in episodes 4 and 5, and then we get the first kiss. From what I feel, this couple didn't get enough time to shine. The problem is most likely due to the fact that there's only 13 episodes in the season, meaning that Raj and Bowie ultimately don't get enough screen time. However, I will say that with what we were given, I enjoyed. And then we get this moment. I like this moment. It made me chuckle a little bit.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh.
More weight!
Nigga, no the fuck it didn't. Ooh, I was ready to run it back on this situation for a while. So after the challenge, the Frogs of Death are seen in their cabin discussing what happened in the challenge. and Julia's getting pretty much all the blame because she's the reason they lost the challenge. Everything looks like it's going cool until MK says butt knuckles. Now, in the comments below, tell me if I'm going insane, if I'm going insane. If I'm dead wrong, tell me. But first, look at this confessional.
Whatever. I might be going home, but I'm not a butt knuckle. Wait a minute. Butt knuckle is my word. And I've only ever said it in here. MK's been watching our confessionals. I might just survive this elimination after all.
Okay, let me say this. The concept of watching other people's confessionals isn't foreign to Total Drama. Scott did it in episode 5 of Revenge of the Island. But the thing is, he only listened to one confessional. Just one. So the concept of watching everyone's confessional is a foreign concept to Total Drama. The concept of having a phone and downloading everyone's confessional is a foreign concept in Total Drama, right? So the fact that all it took was for MK to say butt knuckles and Julia was like, aha! You've been watching everyone's confessionals. This?
I might just survive this elimination.
What dumbass logic is that? Are you serious? She said butt knuckles.
She said butt knuckles, and the only logical explanation on why she said butt knuckles is because she was watching confessionals.
What the hell? No. I'm not mad that MK's going home. I'm mad because of the logic behind it.
MK only said butt knuckles. Anybody could have said butt knuckles. 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 Butt knuckles.
Now, I would have been fine with any other explanation onto why MK was found out. If MK revealed some personal information about Julia that she only knew, or information that she only disclosed in the confessionals, that would have made sense. But the fact that all MK gave Julia was butt knuckles is crazy to me. Butt knuckles isn't even that creative. It's a combination of the word butt and knuckle. I'm pretty sure my 6-year-old brother called me that randomly. And the thing that hurts the most is that this would have been the best episode of the pre-merge if it wasn't for that. If it wasn't for the fucking word butt knuckles. Also, the team doesn't even believe Julia at first until she says MK watches y'all poop. And I'm not that mad about this reasoning, mainly because I'm pretty sure this was played up to be a joke. And in that case, I'll let it slide. But disregarding that, this episode was actually pretty good. We got Bowie and Raj, and the thing is, this elimination was actually pretty entertaining if it wasn't for one word. So, if it wasn't for that word, I would have given this a 9 out of 10, but I'm gonna dock 2 points because I hate the reasoning. 7. Episode 7 is my favorite episode so far. This episode has everything that I want in a Total Drama episode. We get comedy.
The truth is, I'm thinking, man.
I'm not gonna lie, that was genuinely funny, bro. Like the duo between Ripper and Z was actually hilarious. We get a little bit more on the couple between Bowie and Raj. And we also get Julia being strategical. With Chase and Ripper out of all people.
When people insult your intelligence, it means they can't find anything wrong with the way you look.
You know what I like most?
We also get Chase and Emma coming back together, which was probably a blemish on this episode. And if you ask me, this would have been a good ass time to vote them off. Nah, this would actually be the perfect place to end their characters instead of that BS that we got for the next 4 episodes. And we also got Millie. If I had to have one complaint about this episode, is Wayne and Raj's elimination. My main problem with it is that it didn't feel attached to the main story that this episode was telling. This episode gave us all this scheming with Julia, Ripper, and Chase for it to not really lead anywhere. To be honest, this kind of felt like an easy out just to keep Julia in the game because she's a seasoned villain. But overall, this episode as a whole was pretty good. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Episode 8, we have Julia finally leaning into her villainous side. She finally reveals her strategy to us, and it is ass.
Hey, that felt so good. And if you think I just got myself eliminated, you're wrong. They can't eliminate me if I keep winning immunity, which I will.
Are y'all serious? That's her plan, to win immunity? God damn it, lame ass villain, bro. To win immunity every single time? That's the villainous plan? What happens when you don't win immunity? Yeah, Julia, you're gonna be pissed as fuck when he serves you a plate of ass and you gotta eat that to stay in the game. You're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be mad. At the time, I hated this strategy, but fortunately, in the later episodes, Julia does show off a strategic side to her. But I still do wish that winning competitions wasn't a huge part of her strategy. And hey bro, don't kill me in the comments because I'm talking about Julia as a villain, not as a character. I like Julia's character. She's one of my favorites in the season, but I don't know how I feel about her as a villain. And as for this episode, it's not really that good. The main plot lines that it focuses on is Chase and Emma's relationship and Julia trying to cause the other contestants to lose the challenge. But besides that, we really get nothing from this challenge. Now, I'm gonna be honest, we did have Z do some interesting things this episode. But I'm gonna be honest, he's not that entertaining of a character when he's licking a pig's nose and getting all the snot out like a vacuum cleaner, bro.
Can you eat pussy like that?
Overall, this episode didn't give us much. I don't know, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Oh yeah, and fuck Millie. Episode 9 is by far the best episode this season has produced. And to go even further, I believe that this is the top 10 total drama episode of all time. This episode has everything that I want from a total drama episode as a whole. And I don't think it has a single flaw, not one flaw at all. For me, total drama is at its best when all the smaller stories intermingle with each other and create this larger narrative. For example, Total Drama World Tour and the love triangle between Courtney, Duncan, and Gwen. I know some of y'all might hate the concept of Gwen and Duncan being together, but I love this concept as a plot device because first of all, we have Alejandro trying to use this to his advantage. We have Courtney falling for other guys trying to get back at Duncan. We have Heather getting mad at Courtney when Courtney is showing feelings for Alejandro. We have Cody mad at Duncan because Duncan is with Gwen now. We have Sierra mad at Gwen because Cody is more fascinated by Gwen. We even have Tyler being the one to expose the two because he was the one who saw the kiss. And this is one of my favorite parts of Total Drama World Tour, not necessarily because of the couple between Duncan and Gwen, but on how the other characters played off of this information. And we have that to a certain degree with this episode. We start off this episode forming two new alliances. One is Julia, Priya, and Millie, and the other one is Bowie, Emma, and Chase. And in the middle, we have Z. I love the dynamic of both alliances, believing that they have Z on their side. Just for him to be secretly playing both sides and him not even really knowing it, I just really love that concept.
I think they're gone.
Woohoo! Thanks, Z!
Hey, Z's in our alliance. Why is he helping Emma and Chase?
Maybe he's keeping our alliance a secret so they never see us coming.
Oh, wow! Z is actually brilliant.
I forgot why I came in here.
Chase and Emma, who are now sharing a canoe, are still in the lead, but it's not.
I also like this episode because all the other contestants are doing something that's interesting as well. Even though I don't really like Chase and Emma together, they still produce some funny moments in this episode. And this episode is when the rivalry between Julia and Bowie was fully realized. And the best thing about this episode is that Millie doesn't really do anything. And I love her for that because she doesn't put a stain on this episode. And also, Z is really funny in this episode, actually.
When they find out that I made their two alliances into one team of awesomeness.
This nigga's stupid. And then the ending with Z, even though I predicted it earlier in the episode, it still was executed pretty well. And I just actually like the concept of Z being a dumbass and trying to vote off Chris. I actually found that kind of funny. And a lot of people are saying that Z's elimination was unfair because Chris allowed them to revote. And I'm here to tell you it's not. The votes would have been tied either way. And on Survivor, the show that Total Drama is a parody of, in the event of a tie, they do revote. Now I know some of y'all might be thinking that this is a contradiction because in the final four, Chris says that in the event of a tie, the person that wins the most challenges is safe, but in Survivor, at a Final Four, the rules do change. But instead of going off of immunity wins, they have a fire making challenge. But overall, this episode is great. 10 out of 10. Yeah, all that shit I just said about Survivor and Total Drama, yeah, fuck all that. I just forgot that in Total Drama World Tour, they had 2 ties and they did 2 different things. When they tied with Courtney and Gwen, they fought over it. And when they tied with Courtney and Blaney, they just voted them both off. So, but in these next few episodes, I'm about to go off because these writers had the 3v3 of the century. They could have taken this anywhere. They could have done anything with this showdown. And I'm here to tell you right now, Episode 10 starts off when we have the final 6, and I have a problem with this final 6. The fact that Millie, Chase, and Emma, all 3 made it this far is kind of disappointing to me. Like, if you look at the final 6s from other seasons, they're stacked with good characters. And pretty much from this point on, only Julia and Bowie carry the rest of the season for me. So I made a revision. Alright, so here's my little revision on Total Drama Island Season 2023 to make it a better season. Just in mind, I think it's a good season, but I think with these changes, it could have been an even better season. Alright, so here's my whiteboard that I'm going to be writing anything on. Ayo, words up, I'm not writing shit. I couldn't find a marker, okay? So here, boom. Episode 7, right? Instead of having Wayne and Raj get voted off, you have Chase and Emma get voted off, but the same thing happens to them. They get medically evacuated, but Chase gets medically evacuated, and Emma, and because Chase won Emma over, Emma loves Chase again. And I think this is going to work because this is connected to Julia encouraging Chase to get after Emma, right? See, boom. Now it's connected to the plot line between Emma being evil and they get medically evacuated. I say, if you want to keep the little jokey joke, you can have Chase accidentally get injured and then Emma be like, "Oh no, thank you, Chase, you saved me." And then Chase is injured and Emma quits the game because she loved Chase. But keep in mind, Chase still ain't shit. But you have Wayne and Raj. And Wayne and Raj can fill in that slapstick role that Chase left. Boom. Episode 8. Episode 8 pretty much stays the same. Ripper goes home. Pretty much. It stays the same. And I think Wayne and Raj could add some more comedic effect to the episode to make it better. Episode 9. Alright, episode 9 is where shit get weird, okay? So, instead of Chase, Emma, and Bowie on an alliance, we now get Wayne, Raj, and Bowie on an alliance, right? And we also still have Priya, Julia, and Millie, right? And Reese and Z. Damn, nigga, talk. And Z is still in the middle. Z is still in the middle because that episode was good. You have Wayne and Raj replace Emma and Chase. They do their slapstick, but do it better. I think they can do it better because I like their characters more than Chase and Emma. So boom, they do it better. Final 6 is the 3v3, but this time, instead of throwing that shit away, you keep that shit. The reason I kept Wayne and Raj in here is because Wayne and Raj, okay, the reason I kept Wayne and Raj in here is because Raj and Bowie are an item, right? Wayne is cool with Raj being gay and all. Wayne is still supportive, but Wayne feel a little left out, right? And in episode 6, and in the final 6, this is gonna play a huge factor. You saw how in episode 4, Wayne was kind of feeling Julia, right? Julia uses that to her advantage, right? Boom. Wayne pulls over Julia into their alliance. Now it's a 4-person alliance, right? But Julia is a snake, so Julia is coming back to Mia and Priya, and she's like telling them all their business, right? So 2 on 2, they split the votes because they think they cool. But guess what? Julia a snake, and guess who they vote off? They vote off Raj because now this causes turmoil. This causes turmoil. This causes conflict between Bowie and Wayne, right? And in the final 5 is pretty much Wayne trying to make it up to Bowie. And to make it up to Bowie, Wayne throws the challenge and lets Bowie win. And then boom, Wayne is voted out, right? And now it's the final 4. Millie and Priya are like, Julia, we don't really like you, so you kicked out of the alliance, right? And Julia's like, yo, and then Bowie come in with that same strategy that he had. But instead of him finding the phone in the final 6, he found the phone in the end of the final 5, and then that carries through to the final 4, and the final 4 episode stays the same because I think that was a good episode. And then final 3, Millie, Priya, and Bowie, and then boom, final 2, Priya and Bowie.
Please do me a favor.
What?
Shut the hell up.
But yeah, this episode was alright. It focused a lot on Emma and Chase and Priya and Millie, 2 characters and 2 dynamics that I don't really care for. So I don't know. I mean, the Survivor nod was kind of cool. I kind of like the challenge a little bit. I don't see how that phone still worked after Bowie threw it in the water. That's kind of weird. 6 out of 10. Also, Chase's elimination made no sense from Bowie's perspective. Like, why did you vote off Chase? Y'all just established last episode that y'all were in an alliance. I'm ducking 2 points, 4 out of 10. Episode 11 is another good episode in the season. We start off with Bowie's passive-aggressive comments towards Emma, and he has a point. And I'll use this moment to talk about Emma and Chase as a whole. Overall, I found both of their characters to be okay. However, I do believe they overstayed their welcome. I think they're supposed to be a parody of a very toxic relationship, which one side is clearly causing the other side problems, and the other side is just enabling it. I do believe that the writers were able to get this point across, but I still believe Emma and Chase shouldn't have made it this far into the season, but it is what it is. After this interaction, Julia comes up to Emma and says that she has an alliance with Priya and Millie.
I mean, think about it. They're an alliance. That's a threat. The 3 of us team up, vote one of them off. No more alliance.
Do I keep listening to Julia or feed myself to the lions?
Wow, Julia, that makes a lot of sense. Right?
Oh, wait. I just remembered something. We don't like you. No one does. You're a first-rate backstabber and a second-rate schemer.
So, a 3-person alliance is stronger than a 2-person alliance. And since I will not work with Bowie, I'm here to team up with you 2.
Do you really think we'd let you join our alliance? You're in! What? Can you excuse us for just a minute? What are you doing? Julia can't be trusted. I know, but think it through. If our alliance got targeted, they'd vote off the person they like the least. And that will be Julia.
Okay, I get it.
It makes no goddamn sense, bro. But anyways, today's challenge is for the contestants to take selfies with various wild animals. And I thought the challenge was pretty cool. It has everything that I look for in a Total Drama challenge. It lets the contestants interact with each other. And the challenge has a lot of opportunities for there to be funny slapstick. And that's why this was my favorite challenge of the whole season. But let's go back to the plot being completely messed up. I already showed you Julia getting rejected from an alliance that she was already a part of. But now we have Bowie and Emma arguing over Chase. And this goes back to what I said earlier. It made no goddamn sense for Bowie to even vote off Chase, a person in his own alliance. So it made me kind of side with Emma on the fight. Even though Emma and Chase are a terrible couple and not good for each other at all, I just end up siding with Emma because the fact that Bowie voted off Chase was just so dumb in my opinion. But to this episode's credit, it does deliver us some good slapstick. My favorite one was this.
Someone do something!
No way!
And the sequence between Emma and Julia versus the fighting turtle, I found pretty amusing. Overall, in a vacuum, this episode is actually pretty good. It does have some good slapstick. We do have conflict in between characters. We do have strategical scheming. But due to things already established in previous episodes, it makes some of these arguments not really make any sense. I don't know, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Still a pretty good episode. Episode 12 gives us another great episode of Total Drama. This episode is damn near perfect and I almost gave it a 10, but it's not really that funny. In this episode, we focus way more on strategy, and Bowie being the strategical mastermind is what carries this episode for me. His plan to team up with Julia, basically just to sabotage her, is actually very genius, and I believe it's one of the best strategical moves ever made in Total Drama. And then on top of that, him holding the information that he got from Millie's book and then using it in the final 3 was just amazing. And the best part is that it was very entertaining to watch this play out from beginning to end. So I give this episode a 9 out of 10. We made it. We're finally here. The final episode of Total Drama Island 2023. And in the final 3, we have Bowie, Priya, and Millie.
Fuck you, bitch! I hate you!
Whew. But I do believe that this episode suffers because they try to pack way too much into it. First off, this episode has pretty much 2 challenges in it. We also have the ending to Priya and Millie's storyline. And on top of that, we also have to crown a winner of the season. And because this episode is trying to juggle all of this into one episode, I do feel like it's a little bit rushed. The biggest example of this is Millie and Priya. After Millie pretty much lies to Priya all season, all it takes is one conversation for Priya to take her back, which makes me think maybe you should have developed these characters when you had 12 other episodes to do so. In a crazy way to put it, it feels like they procrastinated on the development of these 2 characters, because in the other episodes, these 2 really don't give us that much, and they get a good bit of screen time in these previous episodes. And almost always, I'm just waiting for a more interesting or more funny character to pop up on my screen when one of these 2 are on it. But finally, in the last episode of the season, when these 2 characters finally reach the end of their arc together, it doesn't feel earned at all.
That I wrote awful things about you and everyone else because of my own insecurities. I thought I was above all of you, but I'm not. It was just easier to judge everyone than try to fit in. And that you're the only person who has ever made me feel good about myself. Even if you can never forgive me, you're still the best friend I ever had.
I mean, damn, that's crazy, but Bitch, you literally tried to drown me like 5 minutes ago in lava.
Once that is over, we get into the final two, which last for a grand total of 6 minutes. Yeah, I don't know why they went with this approach, having the last episode focus on Priya and Millie and not the final two of the season. This just led to the reveal of the winner being anticlimactic. I mean, they ran up a mountain, played with cow titties, and then it was over. And the winner of the season is Priya. Yay. I mean, I guess it makes sense for Priya to win because she is very reminiscent to characters like Zoe and Sky. Both were finalists or won their season. And the thing is, I didn't like those three characters, but I was fine with them winning the season in a sense because the season kind of propped them up to be the main character of it. And the same goes to Priya. The writers give her a backstory, she has a lot of screen time throughout the season, she is strategic in some occasions. So Priya winning the season makes sense, but I'm not that much of a fan of Priya as a whole, so I'm just waiting for Bowie's ending to come out, because even though it's not really gonna make any sense, he was kind of a villain this season, I still think I prefer him over Priya. And with that, I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10 because Damien. Overall, this season had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. I do think that this was actually one of the funnier seasons of Total Drama. And when they hit on a character, they hit on a character. Damien, Z, and Scary Girl are all top tier Total Drama characters just in general. However, the flaws of the season keep it from being a top tier Total Drama season for me. The strategical inconsistencies in some characters making it way further in the season than they should does hinder the season for me. But overall, I would say that the good does outweigh the bad, and if you were to ask me to rank this season, I would put it around the range of Total Drama Revenge of the Island and Total Drama Action. I don't know if it's better than those two seasons, I don't know if it's worse than those two seasons, I just have it in the same tier as those seasons. In conclusion, Total Drama Island 2023 is almost amazing. Ayo, but anyway, if you made it to the end of this video, that is crazy. You should try going outside, you know. But I don't know. Thank you for watching my Total Drama Comprehensive Roast in the Hood Ghetto Edition. But if you like more of it, if you want to see more of me, if you thought this video was cool, maybe you should watch my reaction to the whole season of Total Drama. It's all up on this channel. And yeah. I thought I had more to say. I really don't. You ugly as fuck, by the way.